Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Thank you. Getting towards the sharp end of the 2023-2024 BRSCC Winter Esports Series as the real racing season starts to come across the horizon. We're starting to get towards the last couple of rounds before we decide who wins the second season here in the virtual world with BRSCC. Scott Wood was here back on commentary to give you all of the action. We're here for rounds 13, 14 and 15 on the Oulton Park circuit, the full international layout to see who can on top. There's been the usual suspects at the front of the field. Is it going to be the same case once again here in the virtual edition of Cheshire? Well, qualifying already underway here. We've got just under 10 minutes left to go to decide who sits on pole position. And it's been some very intense battles all the way throughout the season. And so far as we get towards the last two meetings here at Oulton Park and then the finale, as it was last year at Laguna Seca, it is set to be another fine contest, I'm certain, aboard these Mazda MX-5 Global Cup cars. Looking at the championship the point standings coming into the evening. At the moment, it is courtesy of his fine performance at Oulton at Knock Hill last time out with 2 victories and a second and a pair of fastest laps. It's Ted Bradbury, the young Mazda MX-5 racing ace, who now leads the way by 9 points from William Chadwick, with Matt Kendall in third and Mikey Doble in fourth. It's getting to that point where these are going to be the quartet that essentially are going to be going forwards, as far as we can see, for the eSports title between these four. But don't count out, of course, the likes of Tom Griffiths, James Dennison and co as you look down the order here. So Bradbury with a 9-point lead over Chadwick, with Kendall in third place, then Doble fourth and Griffiths in the top 5, then James Dennison, Will Redford, who's had some very up and down luck, particularly after not being able to make it at Knock Hill, lots of ground to make up to tonight. And then Joseph Doble, Harvey Jones and Isaac Doble, so all three of the Doble clan still in the top 10 in the standings. The Oulton Park circuit then, it's one of the proper old school circuits that's existed for many years, first since the 1950s, but really it's been a magnificent circuit set in Cheshire, one of the proper old school UK circuits, rarely changed, very little modifications since it was first built all the way back in 1953. And we look at the full circuit, pretty much when it was what we know now as the Gloucester circuit, the international layout was first created back in 1954. And since then, it has really changed very, very little, apart from a couple of chicanes coming in. You can essentially still run the original layout if you really wanted to. This means there's going to be plenty of sweeps, hills, dips and hops over the curves we see here through the right-left of Britain chicane over Hilltop on this current qualifying lap with Will Redford, who was runner-up in the BRSCC eSports Winter Standings in 22-23. Make way up across the hill into the chicane once again. So in terms of key contenders, we can see in terms of the current position in the qualifying session, with about roughly 6.5 minutes to go, is Will Chadwick, who's been a multi-time race winner in this series, who currently leads the way on a 1:50.340. But the times are pretty close at the top, particularly in the top three, as points leader Ted Bradbury is only a couple of hundredths behind him in second, and Will Redford in the top three. And it's so separated by about just under a tenth of a second between them. This should be very interesting in terms of laps, particularly if it is these three at the top of the standings going forwards into the rest of the season. Just the evening, I should say. James Dennison with a good performance so far in the session. He's 1:50.7 to go fourth fastest, ahead of Matt Kendall in fifth, and Lee Britton sixth, and the Dobles back in 7th, 8th, and 11th, the lowest of which is currently Mikey Doble on a 1:51.388. The former BMW Compact Cup champion, the defending eSports Series winner, who I just talking about there, and of course now current BTCC driver with PowerMax Racing, was 11th, but as I was talking, he must have been listening because he's now popped up to 8th, and he literally sits in between his two other members of the Doble family who are racing with him tonight. Joe Doble just ahead, Isaac Doble just behind. See now, coming towards the last 5 minutes of the qualifying session. Lee Britton just moving out of the way. The key chance for some other drivers to restart to make an impact. We'll see Chris Etheridge in the #blessed cars up into 10th fastest. That's a good lap from him to put that car, I believe, in one of its best qualifying performances. There is the pink #blessed machine, number 326. No stranger to endurance racing in both C1s and in the Supersport Endurance Cup as well. Certainly getting used to the sprint racing antics in iRacing. This is going to be very key to see who can come out on top of this one. Of course, it's going to get to the stage where every single point is going to count, every single result is going to count. Because yes, in the standings, you do get the chance to drop your three worst scores. But we're at that point in the season now where some drivers really don't have the ability to do that. In many cases, one driver that potentially doesn't really, Ted Bradbury, if he gets a poor result here and scores less than 40 points, or even a DNF, we see Ted Bradbury here, the current points leader, that means he will have used all three of his scores as being 0 scores in DNFs. That means that from there, for the following races onwards after that, quite literally every single point will have to count. And that means he has to keep himself out of trouble, out of harm's way, and bank as many points as he can. If he is going to be at the front, make very calculated and calm move. But he is quite a young, experienced, young racer, just about 17 years old. He's got quite a mature head on his shoulders, and certainly we want him to use all of that to full effect tonight. Coming up now to just about 3.5 minutes left into the qualifying session now. A real change in my lap times, a real change in the order. Mikey Doble has shuffled up to 5th position, from 11th to 8th to 5th, steadily making his way towards the front of the grid. Half a second off the pole time at the moment. Keep our eyes focused on Bradbury, following one of the Doble clan just ahead of him. Now through the right-hander at Lodge, then over Deer Leap. See if we can stick with him or someone else around him, possibly to go for a lap of the circuit. So Ted Bradbury, then let's take him on a lap now for the circuit. Up towards the right-hander Old Hall corner. Pick your brake in the spot and pitch it in. Use a bit of the curb. Be careful not to run too wide out onto the AstroTurf on the exit. Otherwise, you can start picking up track limits, penalties, and incident points. Now down the avenue towards Dean Denton's, and then Cascades as the circuit starts to fall away. It's evident that it's a long, almost never-ending left-hander. Now, past Lakeside, and now towards the left-hander at Island Bend, the very fast, but you go past the entry to the right-hand side, which is the hairpin for the Island Circuit, now towards one of the best corners here at Oulton Park. Shellaw's hairpin, it's banked. You can carry plenty of speed through here, hug the apex, get back on the power soon on the exit, and now you start to go back towards the second half of the circuit. Curve round, watch your braking point here, particularly braking and turning, taking a straight line if you can. Aim for the first part of the chicane, flick over the second, watch the tyre stacks in the middle as you go over through Britain's left, right, and back over the hill again. You pop up over Hilltop, and now you start to descend towards Estos. Watch your braking point here. Brake at about the 100-metre point as Bradbury does. Just after that, and again, tyre stack, flick right, flick left. Following one of the Dobles in front here in the car to the left-hand side, and again, carry that momentum and speed all the way through the exit of Knickerbrook. Now the climb again over Clay Hill under the footbridge. Here's another tricky part of the course to try and get right, which is Druids. Again, it's lots of bumps. It's easy to get the car unsettled. Early apex on the first part, push it wide for the second, and again, let it drift, but careful not to go too wide, otherwise the grass can pull you right towards the barrier on the exit. There's a couple more corners to go. The last hard braking point on the circuit, you go towards Lodge, I think possibly Bradley's decided to abandon that lap. He was going to hug it to the left-hand side and then go all the way through Lodge. It's a very tricky corner. Quite a bit of elevation change through the middle and on the exit. We go down, then back up over Deerleap, across the start and finish line, complete the lap of the Oulton Park International Circuit. It really is one of the fantastic natural circuits. Former BTCC champion and legend Joe Winkelhock once described it as like a mini Nürburgring. There are a couple of other circuits that are very similar in that sense, like Cadwell Park, but it's certainly a circuit which is one of Joe Winkelhock's favourites. Plenty of favourite with lots of drivers up and down in UK motorsport, including some of the drivers on this grid here. No real change in that top 5. James Dennison has gone to 4th fastest and stayed 4th. He currently remains just about half a tenth ahead of Mikey Goebel. Lee Britton's in the pit lane and appears to have given up his session so far as we keep on following Dennison in one of the Bromley racing cars. His teammate Pete Smith is back in 15th fastest at the moment, ahead of Luke Herbert. And a welcome back also to Will Blackwell-Chambers. He wasn't present for the previous rounds at Knockhill, but he's back in the driving seat here in Cheshire. He's 14th fastest. He's got some work to do. He probably hasn't doing as much practice as he would have liked. He's about 1.3 seconds off the pace in terms of qualifying, but he might well race his way through the field a little bit better if he gets the chance to pick his way through in the opening couple of laps. The timer ticks down any second now to 0. Anyone that's on a lap will be allowed to finish it. Bradbury might be going quick or not, or, as I should remember, iRacing doesn't, so it completely ends the session, and we're going to go straight into race number 1. So you should know that, given we've done 5 rounds already. It's poor form from me. But anyway, let's now move on to how the grid is going to look for the first of our 3 races tonight. This is round 13 coming up. Unlucky for some, but somebody's got to win it. Let's find out who it could be from this grid lineup for race number 1. Here we are then. William Chadwick actually took pole in the latter stages and starts the race from front of the grid. He'll have Ted Bradbury, the points leader, alongside him on the front row. But it's Will Redford and James Dennison with an excellent effort to go 4th that make up row 2. And then defending eSports Series winner Michael Noble will start in P5, alongside Matt Kendall, who's up there in the top 5 too. Ewan Charman, one of our youngsters on the grid, with an excellent 7th fastest alongside Richard Jett, and Lee Britton and Joe Goebel make it both 2 of the Goebels in the top 10, with Isaac Goebel just missing out on the 6th row of the grid, alongside one of the best results so far in qualifying for Chris Etheridge. Then a return for Will Blackwell-Chambers. He starts 14th alongside Ari Barker. Then Pete Smith and Luke Herbert, the 3-time Super Cup champion. He's back in 16th on the grid. Andrew Tibbs and Tom Selden then come next from Keith Dalton and Richard Wootton. There's Tom Bonhemius, Richard Harwood, Finley Lyons, son of TCR promoter Stuart Lyons, then Harvey Jones. It's surprising he's for that far back in 24. He'll have a lot of work to do from row 12. Then it's Richard Frey, Mike Close and Will Hopkins. Again, watch for Richard Frey potentially. He could be a dark horse. Quite familiar around here in Super Classic Formula Ford circles. He could possibly make some moves in the race if he picks his way through any misdemeanors in front from 25th on the grid. Oulton Park circuit then, full international layout. It is 2.692 miles in length, 4.333 kilometres. This should be more intense racing. There is rarely any bad racing that I've seen around Oulton Park. This should lend itself to plenty of action. So Will Chadwick then on the right in white and green, the multicoloured white, blue and orange machine of Ed Bradbury along the side on the left-hand side, row 2. You can see just behind Chadwick is the bright sort of turquoise cyan liveried car of Will Redford and the purple machine of James Dennison on the second row. Watch for the lights at the top of the screen. Round 13 of the 2023-24 Winter eSports Series is underway. It's a quick start from the 5th row of the grid from Lee Britton. Out jumps one of the Goebels in the background as well, but they now jostle for racing room down towards Old Hall for the first time. And they'll get through safely, or is someone going to fall foul? They're all trying to keep clear of each other so far. Line is stone for the first 7 or 8 runners. Now towards the Avenue and Denton's. I spoke too soon. Etheridge is off. One of the Goebels is off. We've got Tom Selden and Richard Jepper off the road as well. 2 of the Goebels have hit strife. Both it's Joe and Isaac. Mikey's got through it, seems okay. But both of the Goebel siblings have hit trouble and they're towards the back of the field. One car running wide also might be Tom Griffiths, but he's going to amble his way back onto the circuit, but through Island Bend and up towards Shell Oils for the first time. And it's Ted Bradbury almost making the send up the inside on leader Will Chadwick. Chadwick knows he needs to try and take as many points as he can out of Ted Bradbury tonight, considering that he entered tonight essentially 9 points back, so he can try and outscore as much as he can. Even if he wins and gets the way he can try, if he wins and gets the fastest lap of the race, it'll pull him dead level with Ted Bradbury. If Bradbury finishes second in all 3 races to go towards the final races at Laguna Seca, literally tied on points. Looking back from Will Chadwick, there's the gap early on for second place between Bradbury and Will Redford also in there to his Denison. He's maintained fourth in the purple MS5 in Q, and a big twitch there, huge twitch of overstep from Kev Bradbury all the way through Nicker Brook. Did that at Donington Park in the gap. Someone shot off in the background. That might, I think, possibly be Will Blackwell Chambers, I'm going to guess. Looks like the Clapham North sponsored car. I think it is. Yep, there he goes tumbling down the climbing green. That's a shame for Will. Welcome back to the eSports series after a week off. Pete Smith, meanwhile, is holding on to 11th position. There is Will Blackwell Chambers, sadly, out of the race, I'm afraid. So he is out. That's the boss of the field. Meanwhile, here's the scrap going on. Bradbury's now falling back after that twitch into the clutch. There's a Redford and Denison, who has made the move, looks like around the outside at either Druids or up Lodge Corner. They come across the line to end lap number 1. They slot back into line. As Chadwick leads now by a second at the end of lap number 1. Bradbury in second. They all run wide on the exit. That might be instant points if they're not too careful. But Bradbury second, Denison third, Will Redford fourth, Noble fifth, and here comes the send at the inside. From Will Redford looking into Cascade, if he can make the move stick. Not get it done. Out of Cascade, out of left-hander, now past Lakeside on the left-hand side, up towards Island Bend, and here comes Noble. He spots the opportunity into Island Bend. They're side by side through Island Bend, but incredibly, Redford keeps his foot in, and that opens the door now for Kendall to go up the inside. You might be a BTCC racer, Mikey, but you can't stop me getting through, says Matt. Through he goes into P5. Noble down to 6th. There's a battle also developing just behind them. We can be focused on these two between you and Charman and Richard Jett over 7th and 8th position. Lead Britain's 9th. Luke Herbert's made a couple of spots from where he was in mid-pack. He's up into 10th position behind his teammate Britain. Down the hill, over Hilltop and back towards Hislop for the second time. They'll wind their way through the left and the right, and then through Nicker Brook, where on a different layout you'll be able to charge all the way down there from, well, good for Shellor's hairpin, through the Britain chicane, over Hilltop and approach Nicker Brook in the old days at quite a rate. They slow them down now for an aid of safety and to make the lap a little bit longer. So yeah, close as you like for Mikey Noble, not playing around here, is he? The number 1 Power Max racing car looming large here on the rear-facing camera. And Matt Kendall under the Carlu Bridge, back down towards Lodge again. Line astern for the top 6 so far, and Bradbury on this lap has just started to reel Chadwick back in a little bit. He's got the gap down for 1 second to about 3/4, taking about a quarter of a second out from him. Just further back, I can see Charman going to the inside line to defend from Richard Jett. That's going to be over 7th position. Jett was just about in front over the line as they head back in towards Old Hall. It is Jett back in front for 7th place for Team Northbrook Racing. Now, I have a feeling that Bradbury is starting to really reel in Chadwick quicker than I think the leader would like, because the gap's already come down by another quarter of a second just in those opening 2 turns. And Bradbury's now leading the charge here as he starts to bring with him Denison, Redford, Kendall, and Noble. And I have to say also, this is really impressive stuff with Denison. He's been getting stronger and stronger as the season's gone on. The Bromley racing car up in 3rd place now behind Bradbury. There he is, purple car sends for a shot. Run so far for James Denison. Could be a good omen for him in the real world season when that gets underway in just over a month's time. Walk their way over the chicane, left and then right through Britain's. Now again, they pop out over Hilltop, back towards the next chicane section at Hislop again. Keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on lap times. So far, fastest lap of the race. It seems has currently gone to Denison. He's really on form. And they are on qualifying pace as well, because they're all setting 1 minute 50s, low to mid 1 minute 50 lap time. Best lap time so far, and that was the first proper racing lap time around. You don't really count the first lap from a standing start. Was Denison 150.348. He was about 10th quicker than Bradbury, and that open proper lap with Chadwick at 150.7. So he's lost time to the 2 cars behind, and that gap that was a second has come right down by 7 tenths. You can see. Further back, they're still going after it for 7th place. This is Jeff on the outside and losing again. He capitulates this time and allows Charman to go through. One of these two are going to try and work together a little bit so they can close in on the top 6 in front, because they are starting to bunch up a little bit. I didn't expect it was going to get quite racy out there between them. But an instant, it's a replay here of something that happened just to Richard Jeff as he was in front. Now, we believe it was an off track. Let's have a look. Through Druids, just starts to drift wide and miss the apex because he knows Charman's there, puts 2 wheels onto the grass, and that will give Charman all the incentive he needs. That's how he got up the inside. Coffee through in Jeff thought, rather than try and fight it, drop back in, get into the tow, see if we can catch up. And Jeff, I think, has possibly had a slowdown, I think, because he's now also letting Lee Britton through. Meanwhile, here comes the Super 6 out of Island Bend and into Shells again. All stacking up behind each other. It's Chadwick from Bradbury, from Denison, from Redford, and Kendall from Doble. That's the top 6. Now on lap 4, this first race of the night here at Oulton Park on the full international circuit. And quite a circuit for MX5 racing for BRSCC in the past. Certainly proving its worth in the virtual world here as we go on board with Kendall. This is 5th position. This is the view he's got. He's got the Nyancat livery in front of Will Redford, as comedic as it might be, giving him plenty of extra boost by the look of it, up there in 4th. Of course, Will Redford was runner-up in the eSports standings last year, but the competition has enhanced itself a little bit 12 months on. Got some work to do to get into that top 3. He'll have to really try and outscore some of the fast guys around him, including those that are in this leading group. He's sitting in 4th and trying to pick up podium place at the expense of James Denison, but he'll have to make some moves momentarily, as we are already getting towards half distance. Last lap of the race, meanwhile, has also been taken by Matt Kendall, as there was a wiggle there from Will Redford. A bit of oversteer. He just touched the wheel onto the grass, exiting the large corner. That's now killed his momentum behind Denison and put him right under threat from both Kendall and Doble as they come through Old Hall once again. This 6 really are pulling away pretty quickly. Ewan Sharman there at the top of the shot was going very wide. That was him back in 7th place, but we'll keep on with these top 6. As Chadwick still leads the 5 cars behind him, a merry dance. Now out of Cascades again and back down towards Lakeside. If Chadwick can really stay here, he will claw back another 2 points. If he can get the fastest lap, it'll be another bonus point on top of that, but you have to really pick up the pace here if he wants that. The fastest lap of the race is still held, as I mentioned, by Matt Kendall on this lap. 150.096. They're lapping a little bit quicker than they were in qualifying. I suspect the reason why is because they do have a bit of a toe being in this group. They are getting a bit of a boost on the straight being in the slipstream. The further back you are in the queue, the bigger slipstream you're getting. Possibly has a situation with a couple of drivers. One is Tom Selden, because he's gone to the pit lane, I think. Also, so has Richard Wootton. So those two appear to have hit strife further back in the pack. They with this leading group of 6 cars. Knickerbrook now on lap 5. Chadwick is not coming to any major pressures just yet. I think Bradbury's doing enough. He's not really hounding on the back of him because he knows it might force Chadwick to get a little bit overexcited or a bit erratic in being crossed up and making a mistake. He just wants to sit there, keep on applying consistent pressure. I'll have to wait and see. Now, we might have a replay here as you can see this perhaps second place. Let's hold this for a second because I think the change of Denison here possibly running a little bit wide. He was alongside him in the braking zone. The big twitch there is going to give Redford the chance he needs to get the run over Dear Leap as they come over the line together. And Redford is only just behind, but he has got track position and the inside line. He squeezes Denison to the outside to the white line. And up into 3rd place goes Redford, but they all run wide over the curb. And that's how Redford into 3rd place. Denison stays 4th, but Alice also brings both Kendall and Doble to play. And Doble with the send up the inside. There he goes, 5th place. Past Kendall up the inside through Cascade, but Kendall doesn't want to give it up. He's going to hold with a toe from Denison and Redford in front. Now Denison's going for 3rd place again. It's 2 by 2 up towards Island Bend. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? Who's going to give it up first? Matt Kendall, credit to him, has gone round the outside. He's no stranger to racing, Doble, remember, of course, because these two have raced against each other on the same grid at least in the days of the BMW Compact Cup when Doble was racing in that championship before he made the switch to the BTCC last year. They are no strangers and they can trust each other. Kendall then has got Doble on his tail. I almost don't want to look away. We still have that replay queued up for Selden, what happened to him, but I almost don't want to look away. Let's have a quick look just to go through. If we do have anything happen, we'll come back to it. This is view for Chris Etheridge, being chased by Doble. And a couple of cars rejoining. Possibly goes off track maybe before that. That's supposed to get it on the replay. So, unfortunate incident for Tom Selden. There he is just in the pit lane. Saw the left the shot. Ready to carry on. Leaders then back through Druids once again. This is on lap 6. We are past 2/3 distance now in this race. Only 15-minute races, so they're short, sharp sprints. Try and make a move here. And this looks pretty racy. He goes down the outside of Redford. He will show him the edge of the white line and hold his place, which he does. And side by side for 5th and 6th. Doble's going at it again. He wants a top 5 spot just behind him there in P5. Kendall holds the place though. Is Noble going to come back at him in towards Old Hall Corner? No, not this time. He sits and the saying goes, because discretion is the better part of valor this time. They're all starting to pair up now because Bradbury's going with Chadwick and they might start to pull away unless they fight. If they start to scrap, it'll bring Redford and Dennison into play. But again, if they also get into a mix-up here for third place, this will bring Kendall and Doble into play also. So they could also start to accordion back together again if they don't work together and essentially cause infighting amongst each other. Ultimately, at this point in time, the harder that Redford and Dennison fight each other, the easier it's going to be for Chadwick and Bradbury to make a break. But of course, they can't settle their differences and leave it until the last lap to make a scrap for the lead. They get a benefit, all the cars behind them that are just going to stack up and make that leading group because it was originally. And Dennison here, you can see, is just falling away a tiny bit from Redford. He's starting to only just break the toe, as you see there in the front. Just posturing around the rear end of Chadwick's car, weaving from side to side, trying to distract Will in his mirrors. Still, they're scrapping over 5th place. Still, Kendall holds the place, and still Doble can't find a way through. Kendall using all of his compact cup experience. Of course, these are rear-wheel drive cars, like the compacts that they race in the real world. Kendall using all of that to full effect as they swing through 6 of them together through Druids once again. Complete lap 7. They're still going to get a couple of laps left on the board, I think. Only just about. Depends on when they cross the line. They're all doing, fast guys in the front are doing 50s and 51s. They might, I think, just get 2 more laps as Doble again has another peek up the inside. He might have the inside line, but decides this time to tuck in, get the slipstream. Now on board with Mike Doble, BTCCA, former Compact Cup champion, and last year's inaugural eSports Series winner. Now, I think looking at the time when they came across the line, we might have just about enough for 2 laps, I think. We'll look see here. Yeah, 2 more laps, I reckon. Inside, and Doble just trying to gnaw away, just edge away, just trying to get himself alongside further and further. He's got the run here. They almost touch wing mirrors. They're side by side again towards Island Bend. And this time, Doble's got track position and he forces Kendall Prosper to go to the white line on the inside, but Kendall again doesn't give it up. He loves that outside line and he can make it stick. So Doble thinks, right, think you can do it. I can do it too. He goes outside line at Shedall's hairpin. They're still side by side. They're still running level. Something's got to give here down towards the Britain chicane. Side by side still. Doble looks for the undercut here, looks left and then looks right, and again Kendall knows he's got to be there. He's possible to tell him. He pulls alongside, grabs another gear, over hill, back towards Hislop again. Surely this has to be P5 for Doble. Kendall can't surely go down the outside into the first part of the chicane. He can, you know, he's proven me wrong. They're still wheel to wheel. This is brilliant. Excellent stuff between the 2 drivers. Wonderful, clean racing room. Trusting each other not to make contact. Doble gets through, but that's what you get. 2 drivers who know each other well from the Compact Cup days racing together, and they're still going at it. It's not finished yet. Looking back now, over the hill, and Kendall thought about it. You saw his car just dart out for a second. He thought about going up the inside at Druids, but that was never going to work, I don't think. Doble had that car firmly planted in the middle of the road. And he darts out and has a look. Oh, Dennison's off the road. Dennison runs wide at Lodge Corner. That's given Redford 3rd place. Now, I don't want to leave any blame on anyone at all, but there is a telltale bump on the front of Redford's car, I think. Here's a replay here. Oh, that was already pre-existing there, so forgive me on that one. Now, this is what happened here. So Redford defends on the inside. Dennison looks to try and go down the outside line. Does he just outbrake himself? I think he does. And the simple answer of did he jump or was he pushed? He did it all by himself, runs out wide. That might have just sealed his fate for potentially going no higher than 4th. Meanwhile, this is the fight for the lead on the last lap of the race. Here comes Bradbury trying to pull the pin. He looks to the outside line. They do touch on the outside line at Island Bend. Tries to stick it round on the inside of Shedall's. Puts 2 wheels on the grass. Can he get it stopped? He can. And here comes Redford down the outside. Wheel to wheel for 2nd place. XP Shedall's. Bradbury shows him the edge of the road, but he gives him enough space to help him pull level. This might benefit Chadwick. He slots back in for 2nd place, and now it's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Nose to tail through Britain chicane. Up over hilltop. Can Chadwick hold on? Is Bradbury going to be too distracted now by trying to fend off Will Redford behind him to try and attack Chadwick in front? Let's see what happens with half a lap to go. Into Hislops. Looking back now from Will Chadwick at Ted Bradbury. And if anything, actually, I can also say that James Dennison isn't that far away in 4th place. If these 3 really kick off in the last couple of corners, it might well start to work in his advantage. He might get a surprise podium if something happens between these three. Under the canopy of the trees, Drew is for the last time, and if Bradley's going to make this work, he has to go for it now. He's got no other choice. He's going to make it stick. He's going to have to send it into Lodge Corner. Does he go for it? Does he stick back and hold the points? Oh, he thought about it, has a dart to the inside, tries to put Chadwick off, but I don't think it's going to work. A twitch of oversteer from Redford, up over Dearly for the final time. A brilliant first race. It's going to be close to the line. They're going to be side by side at the flag. Chadwick to the pit wall, Bradbury alongside him, and it's Chadwick who just takes race one tonight at Oulton Park by 0.117 of a second. Bradbury second. It's then Redford third. The top three covered by 0.325 of a second. And then Denison fourth, Mike Goebel fifth. And Matt Kendall completes the top six with Ewan Sharman, Richard Jepp, Luke Herbert and Pete Smith completing the top 10. So both of the Bromley racing cars are in the top 10, which is an excellent result. So well done to them. Mon Hemius with a solid mid-pack finish as well. He finishes 13th. That's a good drive, actually. He started quite far back down the order. He started back in 21st position and up to 13th. We can look at some of the biggest movers, and Tom, in fact, was the biggest mover up the order. He picked up 8 places. And the next highest moves came from both Luke Herbert and Richard Harwood, both making up 7 places, and Will Hopkins. So Will Hopkins started back in 27th and finished 20th. It was then 22nd place starting for Richard Harwood. He finishes in 15th. And then we also had, Luke Herbert from 16th on the grid to 9th. So some really good moves there. Andrew Tibbs picked up 6 spots from 17th to 11th. One of the big movers, Mike Close from 26th to 21st. And Pete Smith from 15th to 10th. And Keith Dalton 19th to 14th. So some very strong racing and some good drives all the way through. 1 or 2 skirmishes at the start of the race, but apart from that, that league battle was very clean. Some great side-by-side action, some great lines taken. Certainly a moment of the race was that great duel wheel-to-wheel between Kendall and Doble. Neither of them wanted to give it up at all between the two of them. It was really good, close, tight racing and thrusting racing between the two drivers. As I mentioned, did it a few times in that first race. The fact that they are so experienced racing against each other, given that it is a bit of history between those two in the best time, because they have raced together in the Compact Cup before. Just like Doble now applying his craft on the national stage in the UK here in the British Touring Car Championship. So the grid will be set by the result of race number 1, which means that Will Chadwick and Ted Bradbury, guess what, start on the front row of the grid once again. Now, I think Bradbury wants to try and get himself into the lead and get a better start from the inside of the front row. If he can make that happen, it's tricky, but if you get a good launch and beat Chadwick towards Old Hall for the first time, it can certainly work. So here's the result of race 1 and the grid of race 2. Chadwick then took the victory from Bradbury in 2nd place, Redford 3rd, Denison an excellent 4th, and then Mike Doble fifth ahead of Matt Kendall in 6th, then Ewan Charman and Richard Jepp, Luke Herbert and Pete Smith in the top 10, and Andrew Tibbs and Tom Von Hemius, who started from 12th and finished 12th in race number 1. 13th will be Keith Dalton ahead of Richard Harwood, then Joe Doble and Isaac Doble, so it's the all Doble 8th row of the grid. Good recoveries from them after their first lap spins at Old Hall Corner to get back up into the top 15 or so. And it's Etheridge and Parker, Hopkins and Close, Trey and Britton. He's got some work to do, as has also Will Blackwell Chambers and Tom Selden. And then at the back also Harvey Jones. Not the case I expected him to be back in 25th, but he's right the way back in 25th place. Richard Wooten and Finley Lines. So again, that's your race 1 result and your race 2 grid. The result from race 1 sets the grid for the next race to come up. So let's see if it's going to be Chadwick 2 from 2. Can Bradbury extend his lead? Let's find out. We're straight back to racing in number 2 here tonight at Oulton Park. And again, it's a great launch from the front row of the grid and from pole from Chadwick. He gets the job done to go in towards Old Hall for the first time, and it's pretty much line astern as it was. And literally pick up to where left off, but Chadwick with a huge moment exiting Old Hall on cold tyres goes wide, and here comes Bradbury thinking, right, this time I'm not waiting around. Up the inside into Cascades, and through he goes. Look at Redford in the blue car, but then Bradbury and Chadwick both run wide. This could be the chance here for Redford to get past. Bradbury tries to throw the block. He's literally in the middle of the road. 2 cars off of the road in the background. One is possibly Lee Britton. The other one, sadly, might be Will Blackwell Chambers, I think. Richard Jepp's tumbling down the order too. No, I think Blackwell Chambers is okay. Mikey Doble's in trouble though. He's back down in what the company showing as 27th place. And Mikey Doble, the defending eSports Series winner, back down the order, as is also Mike Close and Luke Herbert. We'll concentrate on them or maybe look back at them a little bit later on. Still, they're going at it on the opening lap here. The top four trying to break away. They are literally as close as you like. It is a 16-wheel MX-5 Global Cup car. They are literally touching bumpers down towards the Hislop chicane. Therefore, boys, something's got to give here. Now Will Chadwick's rejoined the game here. He slipped back and went onto the grass, exiting Cascade. He's now back to fifth from pole. And this is the chance that Bradbury needs. He knows that after he lost a couple of points to Will Chadwick, the gap is down to about 7 points now between the two of them at the front. He's going to try and escape here as much as he can, whilst Chadwick is back in fifth and trying to battle these 3 cars between them, which currently sees Dennison ahead now of Will Redford and Matt Kendall up there in 4th position. Now, one key element is going to be Mitchell to Michael Noble. Speaking of which, here's what happens. So there's Richard Jett going off the road, and Tom Selden in the mix there. And that was where Close and Britton came together. It's Michael Noble. I didn't quite see what happened to him, because that's the aftertop. There goes Tom Selden spinning, or Luke Herbert was spinning. I think that's obviously Michael Noble. I think just there, maybe right back of the field. I think so. That came right down the order. Richard Frame back. Meanwhile, we come back to the battle. It's 5 alive now for the lead down the hill towards Cascades and Dentons. Who's going to come out on this one on top? Bradbury not being allowed to pull away from this. He leads, but it's now 2 by 2. They 3 abreast exiting Cascades on the run downhill, Lakeside. This is going to get really messy, I feel, but hopefully in the best possible way. They are all over each other down towards Island Bend. Let's try and take stock of this. So Bradbury leads, Dennis in second place, and Kendall, Chadwick and Redford. Chadwick's back up to 4th. For how much longer? It's a concertina effect. We've got Kendall at the back of Denniston, who in turn has Chadwick at the back of Kendall. Here comes Redford back down the outside on the mix. Just behind them, you've got Pete Smith and Andrew Tibbs. Where's he come from? Tibbs now going for 6th place on Denniston. Pete Smith, the 2 Bromley racing cars up in the top 7 now. Tibbs has made that move stick, so he's now up into 6th position. He's just 1 place away from a top 5. And if these 5 keep on scrapping like they are, he might well get it. He's now got Pete Smith to his inside line. Where do you look for battles? Look at the skirmish behind for 6th, 7th backwards. Got Ewan Charman, Isaac Doyle, Tom Monhemy is in the top 10. You've got Etheridge, Barker, Jones, Will Blackwell Chambers up there in 14th place. You also have there Luke Herbert and Tom Selden scrapping over 20th position. There are literally battles everywhere you look in this second race. We've barely hit a 3rd distance. It's only lap 2. Fantastic stuff here. Racing in this eSports series keeps on getting better and better and better with every single race we run. Case in point, the top 5 all together. Here comes Chadwick up the inside for 3rd place. But Redford toughing it out around the outside. We've seen this before. They kiss wing mirrors. Bit of a smooch between them. And they might give Chadwick the push here down the pit straight towards Old Hall. Does he? Little nudge. Little friendly love trap might help him out on the inside line. Redford thinks not on your life. I'm sticking to the outside line if you don't mind. Almost shuffles Chadwick wide on the inside line. He's not giving up that place early, is he? Again down the hill, and look at that. Chadwick thinking, right, you can shuffle me out of the way. Try this for side. Up the inside in towards Cascade. No contact, but Redford runs wide. And now look, you can see Tibbs and Co are starting to close in here. The harder these guys fight each other, the easier it is for the cars behind to start to catch up. But they have to realise that soon. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute melee at the front in the best possible way. Chadwick with a huge send down the outside of Shalaw's hairpin. Surely not. No, it doesn't. I was getting very excited there. I thought you might be able to hold on to that one. But instead, completely outbraked himself. Just about kept it on the road. Well, Kendall's going side by side again. Calm. Around the outside of Kendall. That's not a bad move, actually, for 3rd place. Kendall let him have it. And look at Tibbs. Look at Andrew Tibbs in the yellow car, 6th position. He's going for Redford down the outside. Screw the championship battle, I'm thinking, he goes, Andrew Tibbs. I'm going for this. Down the outside, he takes it. And he's going for Kendall for 4th place now. Where's this come from? They're all stacking up. Look, you can see one car off the road behind. I think that's Harry Barker in 12th place, but he might drop a couple of positions. This lead group is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Look at it. It's absolutely huge. The lead then, side by side, Dennison down the outside into the drift corner. If both drift wide, it gives Chadwick a chance back the inside for 2nd. Good momentum off the corner, under the bridge. Dennison gives him the space, gets the toe from Bradbury, and Bradbury might get a little bit of a helping hand here as the corner. They're all over each other for 5th as Redford goes back up the inside of Tibbs. I don't know where to look at this point. There's so much coming on in this front back here between them here in this second race. We've still got one more to go with the reverse 50-10. There's lots going on here. Brake lights for Chadwick. He backs out of a move to the lead between Dennison and Bradbury. let's just take stock for a second because it might change in a literal moment. But Iron Denison's had a bit of a tap behind from Chabik, maybe trying to move into line. I genuinely don't think that was intentional. I think that was simply trying to battle for position. Held on to that. Fair play for James Denison. He could have easily lost the back end on the slippery grass, but he holds on for the time being. Let's take a look at a replay of that, rightfully so. This is where we see it in. So, on board with Denison, he'll look down the outside, tap it to his right-hand side, and if he just tries to swap back into the line, doesn't realise the traffic's still there on the inside, oh, that's tricky. And again, that was really good car control. That could have been so much worse for James Denison. A really well-held move, and he holds on. Look at this lead group. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. Let's just take stock if we can for a second whilst they're behaving themselves for 5 seconds. Bradbury in lead, Chabik in second, Kendall third, Denison fourth at the moment. Then it's Tibbs, Redford, Charman, Smith, Monhemius and Jones. Harvey Jones is up to 10th place. He's absolutely shot his way through the order. Harvey Jones is up 15 positions from where he started. From 25th on the grid to 15th. Now he's found his mojo. Now he's got up the inside. That is Harvey Jones. Whoa. With Tom Monhemius for the lead here. You can see Chabik's going for it down the outside at Druids. You can't take your eyes off any battle in this race because they're all going at it for every single position. Here comes Chabik to the outside. Bradford says, forget that, I'm showing you the edge of the road. Now he's on the inside line because he knows that Chabik will go down the outside and he will go for it. He's thinking about it, pulls himself level, might go for the switch back here, exiting Lodge Corner. And further back, this is that scrap going on between Jones, Monhemius, Isaac Doble and Will Blackwell Chambers. The top 12, quite literally, are all over each other, and we've only just hit half distance. I don't think my voice is going to cope at this rate. Now then, out of the right hand at Old Hall, breathe in, here we go again. Down the hill, through Cascades, over Denton, still side by side. Bradbury then, holding on to the place. Dennis can back up the inside for third. He wants to get back on the podium if he can. He almost squeezes Kendall out wide. He puts 2 wheels onto the white line. And look at Chabik in front. He's going for the lead. This is side by side between the top 2 in the points. Is Bradbury on driver's right, Chabik on driver's left. He goes round the outside. If he holds on to that, that's a beautiful piece of driving from Bradbury. Puts the car in the middle of the road, gets it stopped for the apex. And he's brilliant defensive driving with Kev Bradbury. He's only 17 years old and he's driving like he's been doing it for years. Fantastic. Take that, Will Chabik. Try that one on for side. Now then, through the chicane at Britons. They're still not finished. 6.5 minutes to go. Over the hill. So, Bradbury, Chabik, Kendall, Denison, Redford. That's the top 5 at the moment. Then it's, look at them, 6. It's Tibbs, then it's Charman, Smith, Jones, Doble, Blackwell Chambers and Monhemius. It is a 12-strong league group. And it could change literally in the blink of an eye. It's a cliche saying, but it's absolutely true. Look at them. They're all over each other. Over the hill. Chabik's not done here. He wants to go at it again. There goes over Clay Hill. He'll be on the outside for Druids. He puts his 2 wheels onto the curb on the outside. Into the right-hander. Can he send it round the outside? He thinks about it. But again, Bradbury says, there's the road. They make contact. The top 2 and the points are off into the barriers. It is absolute pandemonium. Round goes. That was Andrew Tibbs. Into the barrier has gone one of the Bromley racing cars. It's Pete Smith. It has all ended in disaster for both the top 2 in the points. Both Will Chabik and Ted Bradbury come to blows on the exit of Druids. It now puts Matt Kendall into the lead. Denison second, Redford third, Ewan Charman fourth. Harvey Jones is up to 5th, and he started back in 25th position on the grid. Right, let's get a replay to see exactly what happened. It's deeply unfortunate, but we really were fighting hard. And I did say anything can change in literally the blink of an eye, and it absolutely did. And I think both of them simply were going for the same piece of road at exactly the same time. And unfortunately, both of them hit drama. Also went off the road. Andrew Tibbs went spinning. He was trying to avoid, or he might have got collected from rejoining Lord Chabik and also getting caught up, and that was Pete Smith. Here's a look at it. So Chabik goes down the outside. Chabik doesn't want to give it up. He drifts that wide naturally. Chabik still stays there. I don't want to take the middle of the fence road, but I truly think that's a racing incident to me. I know it's more down to Will Blackwood Chambers when he's got to have a look at that, but it was simply just 2 cars drifting to the same path, looking for the same piece of tarmac, and it might well end up being 50-50 on that one. It's a real shame, genuinely, but we'll wait and see. Anyway, so, big deep breath. Let's carry on. So now 2/3 of the way done. Let's see where we sit then. That's really has shaken up the top 12 now. It's one of those situations where something was going to happen, unfortunately, and it did kick off right at the front. There was a chain reaction. It's 4 or 5 cars hit stride sadly, but it has broken things up, and now, very interesting top three here. So, Kendall now leads the way. Dennison in second place. Can he get his first eSports Series victory? Thinking about it, he's going to the inside line. Redford's now third. The momentum for the Bromley racing car might put him up the inside for the lead here. In towards Lodge, down the inside. Dennison has got it done. I was kind of extending my has there for a second. I was waiting for the response from Kendall, but Kendall's didn't have the run so far down the pit straight. Here comes Redford, in second place again, just almost kiss the wing mirrors. Goes on the edge of the track, and through into second goes Redford. The calmest my voice has been in about, the last 11 and a half minutes. It gives a chance to just get a small breather. As we see now, they've all started to, how it's formed now is now a pair of trios, if that makes sense. You've got James Dennison ahead of Redford and Kendall, Ewan Charman fourth, Harvey Jones with that incredible run through the pack from so far 25th to 5th, and Blackwell Chambers also being a fine drive so far. He's lifted himself from what was 22nd, 23rd up to 6th position. He was trying to take 5th there from Harvey Jones, but Harvey shut the door. He's more focused, trying to get past Charman. If he can make that stick, he'll be 4th place for the youngster. That's the game. Through Bristons. Now over the hill. On board with Kendall. That's the view he's got now. Looking at the rear bumper of Will Redford. Down the hill towards the Kane. Hislops. Again, flip right. Yeah, touch the brakes to help rotate the car there from Redford. On the power. Over the curb at Knickerbrook. And back now up through the gears again as they climb back up over Clay Hill underneath the footbridge. Close. He knows there could be an opportunity still if he just keeps his power to drive for a little bit. Stays in that lead hunt. With the double apex of Druids. Now under the bridge again. Dennison could be looking at his first win in BRSCC Winter Esports if he can make it stick. And was thinking about a move for second. He's trying to put Redford off here. Trying to force him wide on the apex on the exit of the corner. Tries to bring himself level. Redford's wise to it. He goes, right, I'm going to cut right to the inside line. But Kendall sees that coming. He now goes to the outside line for Old Hall. And will he go around the outside? He's done it with Doble a couple of times in race 1. And he thinks about it. He thinks to goes on the outside line. He slots back in to give Redford just enough room. There's a decent enough run to go almost alongside him through Cascades. But if he can stay there, as behind, is that Will Blackwell Chambers in trouble? No, it's not. He's now... No, it wasn't. In fact, it was Ewan Charman. I think Ewan Charman and Blackwell Chambers. Let's see what happened here. They're both behind Harvey Jones. Jones is up to 4th, and Blackwell Chambers just went a little bit too much speed, I think, into the corner, and that put him into the side of Charman. Oh, that was good avoidance there from Doble, and also from, I think that was the lines, I think, going through the order behind them. That was quite good avoidance driving there from both of them. Go through the middle. James Dennison has checked out here in the lead. He's now got a really good gap of currently 1.2 seconds. So there's a real chance here, I think. He's staring down the barrel of his first Winter Esports win. His best result to date in the standings. He's currently 6th coming into tonight's racing. Best result so far has been a couple of third places. One at Donington Park, one last time out at Knock Hill. So this could be his first win. It'll be Bromley Racing's first win in the Series 2. And I think this might well be the last lap of the race. We're coming up to less than 25 seconds on the clock. This might well be last lap and a run here for a victory for James Dennison. He can just negotiate through Druids, through Lodge, over D-Leap and back to the checkered flag. That victory's his. For second, it could change late as Redford goes defensive. One last shot for Kendall down the outside. He's pulling level. This could be close. As a look down the outside, it's going to be quite a finish run to a line here. If he can stay on the inside line. Meanwhile, it's going to be celebration, and why not for James Dennison? His first Winter Esports win. Brilliant stuff after a totally crazy race number 2. Full of action at the front. It was second and third across the line between Redford and Kendall, separated by just under a 10th. They're still sprinting towards the line. It's going to be Harvey Jones in 4th from 25th on the grid. 21 places gained. That's so far the drive of the night. That's incredible from Harvey. It's Isaac Noble 5th. Tom Hemius was 6th. And Sharman. William Chadwick recovers back to 8th after the incident. 9th for Chris Etheridge. And 10th for Will Blackwell Chambers. So the one that actually came out of that in terms of recovering for points, essentially, better, was Will Chadwick. And that might actually help him, ironically, quite a lot in the standings between himself and Bradbury, because Bradbury finished back in 18th. It really is a dramatic difference in points. So I think now possibly that's going to be, actually, yeah, but Gabrick in the points, I think, because of that, ironically. We'll wait and see after the points are finished. We're going to see here, I think, an overhead view here. This is what happened close up. So, Bradbury goes deeper into the corner and holds the line. Chadwick stays to the outside here. You can see that Bradbury's natural line is to start drifting. There's a tiny touch. Again, it's at that angle you can see there, it's just two cars going for the same piece of tarmac. They just get almost, if you see what I mean this as a term, magnetized together. The two cars actually ended up in the same path at the wrong point. The two cars ended up going off, and that's compromised them both. And producer Mayo is also agreeing with that sentiment as well. So, but again, it's down to the stewards. We'll let them debate it after the race, and we'll see what they decide to do. What it's worth, I personally feel that's the racing incident by what it looks like, but distance, you see what I mean here, not to be derogatory, but my opinion's worthless. It's down to the stewards. We'll wait for them to decide what's going to happen. So, what we forgot about that in that race entirely was the fact that we actually reversed the top 10, of course, so which means that we now actually have to reverse who finished in 10th. And we're looking so busy what was going on in that race, I didn't actually see who finished 10th. So I have to quickly look back and just figure out who it was very quickly, just to see who was P10 for that one. So P10 went to Will Blackwell Chambers, of all people. So I shouldn't be surprised, but Will Blackwell Chambers now gets a chance to have a bit of a silver lining to his night tonight. His return night's not been the smoothest. I think he will say that's an understatement, but he will now try and get himself up the order from 10th on the grid. So the top 10 reverse should be as follows. Will Blackwell Chambers should start race number 3 from pole with Chris Etheridge alongside him. Now, the biggest winner from this, actually, is Will Chadwick, because he still starts in 3rd, and he is now in a golden chance to get himself some really strong points ahead of Ted Bradbury, and essentially lift himself back into quite a secure points lead heading to the finale at Laguna Seca in a couple of weeks' time. He will start in 3rd on the grid, having been back in 8th in race number 2. We look to the second row of the grid alongside him, which is Ewan Sharman. Then it's Tom Monhemius and Isaac Doble. Then Harvey Jones. Then Matt Kendall. Then Will Redford and race 2 winner James Dennison. That's going to be the top 10 in that order. Will Blackwell Chambers on pole for race number 3 after reversing the top 10. And crucially, Will Chadwick, despite the coming together with Ted Bradbury, will start race number 3 from, we think, 3rd place. That's really crucial, particularly for results that could come his way in this 3rd and final race. Finally had a chance to take a sip of water. That's my voice is starting to go, I think. I've strained it enough in those first couple of races, but with good reason, because the racing's been absolutely phenomenal. Yes, 1 or 2 unfortunate comings together, but in any case, it has been fantastic to watch all the way through from start to finish. Whilst we are on this break, a couple of things to talk about in real-world BRSCC circles. Of course, the real racing season, the real-world racing season, begins on March 16th and 17th, where you'll see plenty of Mazda MX-5, the Mark 1 and Mark 3 variants line, not Mark 4s. They're not out until the Evolution Trophy after the MX-5 Mark 4 trophy that runs within that. That's Snetterton at the beginning of April. If you want to find out more about the 2024 calendar and all the series of events and championships and series and everything else that BRSCC is up to this year, you can head to the website, brscc.co.uk. Also, we'll have news, I'm sure, in due course of the live stream schedule. That will be out, I'm sure, within the next few weeks before the start of the season. And be sure to be subscribed to the BRSCC YouTube channel. That you can make sure that you can keep up to date with whenever we go live in that sense. So, also, we've got the next week, quite an important week next week, because we have the 2024 BRSCC Fiesta Junior Scholarship taking place. All 52 spots are completely sold out. We've got an all-star judging panel, including the likes of Josh Cook, Matt Neal, Aidan Moffat, on top of that, Paul O'Neill and Danny Buxton, and to help with the media training, one of the main voices of the ITV Sports touring car presenting team, and of course one of the main presenter for BRSCC, Mr. Richard John Neal. For those who know them in UK circles will know that's a pretty big lineup in terms of ex and current touring car stars that you'll want to watch out. They will be the 6 people that the 52 scholarship entrants will have to impress. They want to come out on top and win a full season's worth of racing in a Pro Alloys Racing Run Fiesta Junior Mark 7 Fiesta race car, and a total prize package that's worth in excess of £65,000. A fully funded season for them to try and show their worth if they are lucky enough to earn the spot of being the Fiesta Junior Scholarship winner, the first ever BRSCC Fiesta Junior Scholarship victor. So, last couple of moments in the warm-up here before we get going once again for race number 3. I think it's giving us all a chance to just get a little bit of a breather after those two very action-packed, very intense races that we just had. Give me a break in my voice as well, I think. And I shouldn't be talking about my voice because ultimately as a commentator, no one cares about my voice. But for the record, it's simply just me trying to... I think everyone's trying to gather themselves back together before we get to race number 3. And given that you've got the reverse grid top 10, sometimes it can be an anticlimax. It can be the less action-packed and less frenetic race out of the 3 because some of the faster cars that they can pick their way through the front runners in that top 10 ahead of them in quite swift action. In the first few corners, they can start to really pull away. But you've seen how close that lead group really is. And so if they do start to get back together again, particularly if Bradbury can really make his way through the order where he'll be back in 18th place, that might well be something he'll be looking forward to. He's just got to keep his nose out of trouble because that mid-pack has had a couple of first-lap skirmishes that has caused downfall of 1 or 2 drivers, particularly Mikey Doble in that second race. Of course, watch for him. He will be right the way back down the pack in... That's going to be 24th on the grid. So 2 cars to watch out for deeper in the pack than they should be. It's going to be both Ted Bradbury in 18th on the grid and Mikey Doble in 24th. So here's the lineup for race number 3 then. As I said, top 10 from race 2 is totally reversed. That means that Will Blackwell Chambers will start on pole position alongside Chris Etheridge and Will Chadwick. Key chance for him to score some really crucial points ahead of Chadwick and trying to get back into the lead and extend that lead pretty further. Pretty rapid through his race, but he's getting underway very shortly. So Charman alongside him with 4th, and Tom Monhemis and Isaac Doble, Harvey Jones and Matt Kendall, and Will Redford and James Dennison race 2 when they start back in P10. Finley Line starts 11th alongside Keith Dalton. Then we have Tom Selden and Luke Herbert. Pete Smith and Joe Doble complete row 8 alongside Richard Wood and Ted Bradbury. Watch for him from row 9 on the grid back in P18. And Richard Jeff and Richard Harwood, Mike Close and Andrew Tibbs, Will Hopkins and Mike Doble again. One to watch for charging through the order. Don't expect him to stay in 24th position. And then Ari Barker, Lee Brickett and Richard Gray, using all of his knowledge, racing here in Superclass Formula Ford, to try and pick his way further back to the grid and 27th. So red lights on, red lights off, and we're quickly back underway here at Oulton Park. It's a clean, equal start for the first few runners down towards Old Hall for the first time. Everyone in the first 6, 7, 8 spots just about keeping single file. That's neat so far, he says rather nervously. Out of Old Hall. Now down the avenue towards Cascades. And oops, it's kicked off already. One car in the background is around. Couldn't quite catch who it was. It might be Lee Britton. That's when you get that much luck in. There was also Pete Smith's gone off the road, or one of the racing cars, and it's definitely not James Dennison. Mike Close is off the road as well. And yeah, that is Lee Britton. Something about the eSports series where he just doesn't seem to get any luck at all. 44 involved is Will Hopkins too. He's one of our car cup racers in real life. Now then, for the leaders, of course, Shell Oils. Now, one driver that's actually had a mismatch. Where's Wood Chadwick? He's back in 8th. Where's he got to? Wood Chadwick is back in 7th race. He's actually had a really not as good a start as he was hoping. He's now fighting away with Tom Monhemis over 7th place. They're side by side in towards Britain. So 2 cars off in the background. And one of them is Luke Herbert. The other one, I think, is Keith Dalton, 7 and 11. I think it is. Yep. North's trying to pick their way through now with minimal dramas. He's trying to Mikey Doble and Ted Bradbury ahead of him. Here's the replay. This is Luke Herbert backing away. I think it was with Keith Dalton. 2 of them are now going to head towards his slops. There's a slightly slower Will Redford by the look of it there. And I think that both just got caught out. Not really any fault of anyone's own as far as I can see. We just cars getting mixed. There's 2 cars, 3 cars involved in another incident here. One's Finley Lines. Another one's Ewan Sharman. So 2 of the younger drivers in the field being into the mix. And there's Finley trying to get himself back up the order if he can and finding a gap in the traffic. Oh dear. That's not going any further, I'm afraid. Finley, the telltale smoke from the MX-5 shows that car, I'm afraid, is going absolutely no further in this race. That's going to be a fast zone. Meanwhile, it was Ewan Sharman up to the front then. So, past Will Blackwell Chambers, former MX-5 Super Cup champion back in 2022 in the Pro class. Meanwhile, Harvey Jones up into 3rd place. Good run from him. But at the end of the first lap, it's Sharman who leads with a move at the right-hander at Lodge. 2nd for Blackwell Chambers. Now 3rd for Kendall, up the inside of Jones. Isaac Doble in the 5th position. James Dennison, the race 2 winner, in 7th. And it's Will Chadwick in Dennison in 6th, excuse me. It's then Chadwick in 7th. Monhemis 8th. Will Redford is in 9th place. And Joe Doble in the top 10. Bradbury, meanwhile, he's up from 18th to 11th already. He's just there at the back of the shot, just behind Joe Doble and Will Redford in 9th and 10th. So he's not too far away from Chadwick. In fact, look at that. There's only 4 cars 4 places between Chadwick and Bradbury on the first lap already. So a poor start from Chadwick, who's now on down to, well, he was trying to go for 6th, I think, on Isaac Noble. He's just there at the bottom right of shot, as he was. Having over P6, he's just there battling with the blue car. The left camera at the back of the shot, there he is. Isaac Noble with Will Chadwick in white and green behind him. And again, Dennison's dropped a couple of places back. He's now lost out to Harvey Jones. Right at the top of the shot, the other Doble is in there. That's Doble scrapping with Redford looking down the outside. One's got to be careful. It's been Bradbury in. More careful. He just about avoids it. How has he got through the middle of that? That's incredible avoidance from Ted Bradbury. He anchored it up. He must have stood on the brake pedal and almost broken it. He stood on the anchor and Redford thinking of suspension damage. Just look at the replay of that. Now, there's 2 parts to this. It's Doble and Redford coming together, but also the avoidance from Bradbury to really anchor it up in the middle of the chicane. And yeah, I think, admittedly, Doble looked like he tried to go for a spot that wasn't there, but Ted Bradbury, how lucky was he to get away from that completely unscathed? That was incredible. Now, sadly, Will Redford's race is done in race number 2. He's been towed back to the pit. Meanwhile, with 5 alive for the lead, it's Blackwell Chambers back to the front. Here comes Kendall for 2nd place. And now we've got the amazing Harvey Jones in 3rd place, battling with Sharman. Little quick stereo over the curb. And Edison looking racy now as well in 5th position. Chadwick is now 6th. He's now got Noble and Monhemius. And then you've got a couple of seconds back, some 6 seconds back after getting held up there. And Bradbury, but what might be a saving grace is Dennison gets tacked from behind. That was from, I think, Chadwick or Noble, one of the 2 from Harvey Jones maybe. But on the onboard there, Dennison was going in a straight line and then he wasn't. Now that's got to be a replay, I'm sure, because immediately behind him there, I'm afraid, might be the one that's come to blows. We'll have to see a replay to see if there was any fault at all or not. Let's have a look. So, up the inside of Harvey Jones, in through Cascades. Now, was it simply just Jones trying to hold the inside line? Okay, in all fairness, I think. Okay, that's a little tricky. It looked like Dennison's trying to go back in, didn't realise that Jones had a portion of his car alongside him and it's turned him round. I think, by the look of it, in all fairness, I don't think Jones at all intends to do that. I think he just got caught off guard by the direction that Dennison took. But again, I'm not a clerk of the course, I'm not a steward, so we'll leave it to them to decide if there is any fault of anyone, and we'll carry on our merry way as we've gone past the 3rd distance in this 3rd and final race. Now then, moving on, top 5 together, and keep an eye, the progress you're going to try and keep an eye on here is the progress of Bradbury. Now, he is 8.1 seconds off the lead, and in terms of where he is in respect to Chadwick, who is now all the way up to 5th place now, he's now got himself up into E5 again. He is, let's have a look at that. That is about roughly 7 seconds back, but he's got to try and use some of the clear air available to him. If he can, close back in, because he's going to lose a few more points here. Chadwick now knows how important it is, given that Bradbury is back in 9th and has been held up. He won't know that, essentially, but what he'll know is he's getting information. Bradbury is back basically at the base of the top 10. On that time, he didn't get a chance to do that in race 2 because there was so much going on. Will Chadwick, who else, fastest lap of the race so far, won 50.094. And comparing that to everyone else, everyone is about a second lap slower at the moment because they're all practicing amongst each other. So the clear air that he's had has really allowed him to get into the mix here and charge of this lead group as they come back through Island Bend and back towards the Shell Oils hairpin. Chadwick there with the fastest lap of the race in purple. He will sneak up the inside, having a look at Harvey Jones for 4th place. So, Blackwell Chambers, Kendall, Charman, Jones, Chadwick. That's the top 5. All through Britain's together as one. 6th for Isaac Noble, 7th for Tom Monhemius, 8th for the recovering James Dennis Noppy. He had that little angle with Jones. And got himself out onto the grass. He's just at the top of the shot in purple. And then behind him, not too far away from him, is Ted Bradbury. I'm going to count his lap time. Ted Bradbury is at the 9th position. His last lap was a 150.721. He's faster than the cars ahead of him, bar Chadwick. Now this plays out. Meanwhile, for the lead, Kendall goes round the outside underneath the curbs, and there was a touch there between the 2 of them. That puts Blackwell Chambers way off line, loses in 1 spot, 2, 3, maybe 4, because here comes Chadwick. So that little bit of a touch there between Kendall and Blackwell Chambers gives Kendall the lead, but it also gives Carmen 2nd, Jones 3rd, and now Chadwick 4th as a result of that. So literally, in 2 corners, Blackwell Chambers has gone from 1st to 5th. He's dropped 10 quid and picked up 6pence. Meanwhile, back towards Old Hall Corner they go again. Blackwood Chambers looking pretty good form so far in this early part of the race. Now we've gone past half distance. Look at lap times again. Now this is working out for Bradbury. His last lap, in fact, was a 1 minute 50.540, and the cars in front are all doing 51s and 52s. So this is going to work in his favour. There he is. Now, if the cars in front can keep on battling, that's only going to benefit him and the cars that have got this clear air that are not scrapping away. This could be case in point. This could really help him out here, because look, Kendall and Charman are going wheel to wheel. Here comes Chadwick up the inside of Jones. Goes for third. He might get second on the exit. He gets the momentum. Out through the right-hander at Shellors. They're still side by side for third. And Chadwick has to back out of it. He stays fourth. Bradbury, look at his gap. He is 6.7 seconds off the lead. But past half distance, really means the cars in front carry on scrapping like this. The more they do it, the more they'll hold each other up, and it might bring that lead gap bigger and bigger. Bradbury right at the top of the shot there as we continue to look on for this lead battle. Edel tries to break away. Chadwick goes to the inside for the first part of his slot. Gets slightly elbowed out wide. That might give Blackwood Chambers a chance to go through, which it does, and it might also give Doble a chance to go through too. The wheel to wheel for fourth. Chadwick trying to come back at the former MX5 Super Cup champion, but Blackwood Chambers has the inside line. But Chadwick is brave enough to go round that outside at Druids, which is not easy to do. Fair play. Holds on to fourth. Now here comes Isaac Doble then. Best of the Dobles in this race. The other two, Joe Doble in 10th, Mikey Doble from basically the back of the grid to the 11th place. From him so far, just be outside and on the fringes of the top 10. Kendall, meanwhile, still leads the way. Across the line they go, coming up to 2/3 distance, and Bradbury in the background should watch out for. Is just about 6 seconds off the lead as they all start to run wide over the curb and over the gas reserve on the exit. Lap times again, and really I'm keeping an eye on mainly Bradbury's lap timing compared to everyone else. If you look at what he set last time, Bradbury did a 1 minute 50.2623. Next quickest car was the car in front of him, which was the 1 minute 58.66 for Dennison. Everyone else is doing 151s and 152s. This is benefiting Bradbury no end all this fighting. Calm down a little bit at Shellor's hairpin. We're still now just under 5 minutes to go. There's lap times on the left-hand side, you can see. Lap times last time by. Green lap time denotes personal best, which means that shows a few cars going quite quickly, one of which is Harvey Jones. Also, Noble and Monhemius, so watch for them. Over the sector times they go. And again, the top 6, 7, 8 cars in the line. Bradbury right at the top of the hill now and getting closer. Look at this time now. Bradbury's now, he is 5.7 off the lead and trying to get closer. What he needs is these guys to come on battling. This is certainly going to help them. Here they go then. This is now wheel to wheel for the lead. It's now on the left, now Ewan Charman. On the right is Matt Kendall, and Charman won't give it up easy. He's got that inside line. He's got the track position. They're 2x2 in towards Druids. Jones holds on to third, and Charman does go up the inside, and Ken's got to be careful. Careful, they don't tangle. They do tangle. They do touch. And now wheel to wheel again. Blackwood Chambers watching back again the popcorn out of this way. I'm not having any part of this. You scrap amongst yourselves. I'll pick up the pieces when it all goes wrong. Look at this. Charman's got cars either side of him. He's got Kendall and gets an intimate look at the engine bay of Matt Kendall's car. They're all together again. It's race 2 all over again. And again, the main person that benefits, I keep talking about him, came into the evening as leader in the standings is Ted Bradbury. We'll look at the lead gate now. What is it? It is now 6 seconds. The one car's off the road. Who's that? Is that Ken? Is that Blackwood Chambers? It's Kendall. Kendall off the road. I can see there. Look at up the inside, up the road. A few meters ahead. That was Will Chadwick with the send. Set my words. That was Will Chadwick with the send. Up the inside for second, getting the push from Blackwood Chambers as he moves past the youngster Jones as well. But it's 2 youngsters who were first and second. It's now Charman ahead of Jones. It was. Now Jones is back to fourth, make it third. He goes back down the outside. And Jones with the wipers on. He goes back down the outside line. Oh, gets the nudge from Chadwick on the exit for good measure. But he's made it stick. Impressive enough. Got the inside line for Hislop. Excuse me. Back up to third. They'll stack up and they tangle. Blackwood Chambers into the rear of. Oh dear, this is going to get very messy. And Deb Bradbury just, again, for the escape artist, squeaks past all of them. So I think we do need a replay of that. It looked like simply cars going for position. And it looks like the Blackwood Chambers, unfortunately, had the back of Jones, spun him round. And then, if we go through, let's look back at it on the replay. So, watching the cars third and fourth in shot is the white and purple car. the white, red and blue machine. So Jones is a bit caught up behind the back of Chadwick's car. Blackwood Chambers may have had nowhere to go. And also gets a love tap from James Dennison as well for good measure. And he gets going again, but he's out of the podium spots. Now then, the lead. Here is Charmer getting held up by Chadwick here. Bradbury, meanwhile, he's up to 5th place. This could be really beneficial for him. Chadwick is going for the lead here. He's up past the lap of the race to get the bonus point. Love tap on the rear. There's a little bit more scuffle there as well. Chadwick getting desperate a little bit here to try and get past if he can. I think we're going to get maybe this might be the final lap of the race because we've got 1 minute 47 on the clock and they're doing 1 minute 52.53. So this could be the last lap of the race here. Bradbury could even salvage the podium. They've run wide in first and second. Darman and Chadwick still in the top 2. You can see here, Kendall 3rd, Blackwood Chambers 4th, and Bradbury is up to 5th, and he's right there. Through Cascades, and Chadwick tried to go up the inside on the switchback, but Sharman parked his car straight on the apex. He was not going to let Chadwick have that easy at all. And on Lakeside, up towards Island Bend, they're stacking up, and Bradbury's at the back of that queue. It's Charman, Chadwick, Kendall, Blackwood Chambers, and Bradbury, and there goes putting Chadwick down the outside line. He can make it stick. He gets shuffled out wide. Here comes Kendall on the exit, the corner. They tangle again. They almost rub wheels. They're going to get very close here on the final lap of the race. This is not going to work out in anyone's favour. They're rubbing again, side by side over the curve. Chadwick out of shape. Charman goes way too deep out of the corner. Through he goes. That was a bit of a naughty setup there, I think, but he's managed to get through. And here comes Bradbury down the middle, past Charman, now on the outside line of Blackwood Chambers. The lead group stacking up again. Keep a 3rd place down the outside. Does he get it? Yes, a small tail slide, but he's got through to 3rd place. He's minimised the damage from any points that Chadwick might get. Walker running wide. Blackwood Chambers gets shuffled out by Charman. Here come also the Dobles. Isaac and Mikey Noble and Joe. All 3 Dobles, in fact, in there with Tom Monhemius and James Dennison. Top 10 are literally in one shot together on the final lap of the race. Blackwood Chambers gets elbowed out wide, round goes. Isaac Noble gets tapped by Monhemius and by Mikey and by Joe. They're all up into the barriers, including Mikey Noble. It's a concertina effect, pirouetting in tandem, all cars off the road. That's a real shame to see. It's not how they wanted to end it at all. Meanwhile, the leaders out of the final couple of corners. It'll be Chadwick that wins it. Henley in 2nd place, and Ted Bradbury from 18th on the grid to 3rd. That will be minimising any damage from any points that he would have scored and lost out on. Either way, that was more intense action all the way to the flag once again from all involved. Now, obviously, real world or sim, we never want to see incidents where it's a bit of a chain reaction, but even so, fortunate, but sim racing, and that's motor racing. Now, we might get a replay of how it all played out here, essentially, if we can. That was the aftermath of Mike Noble's car. We'll look at the order of where they finished up when we have a look at them before interviews. We'll run through where they were. Happened quite far way back. The one thing that impressed me in all of that, if you want to say impressed, there was some literal tandem spinning. There was a few cars literally spinning at the same rate. Here's how it all started. Blackwood Chambers and Doble. Doble lost it on the inside of Blackwood Chambers. Will carried on without too much skirmish, but the incidents happened behind him. You had Monhemius, all 3 Dobles involved in that, and Dennison, and also I think there was possibly somebody else involved in that. Here's where it all kicked off. Michael over the barriers. Monhemius rebounded. He got caught by first Isaac and then Joe Doble. Dennison carried on without getting spun round. There's all sorts going on the final lap, and it caught out the 5 or 6 cars as a result. And breathe. That was a very intense night of eSports Series racing for BRSCC, and there is still the season finale to go at Laguna Seca. If everything we've seen so far up to this point is simply just a preview of what's to come at Laguna Seca, I'm going to say sign me up, but also pray for me. That's going to be quite intense to decide who wins the series. Once you get the points worked out, we figure out who's where, and it might well be a very hard-fought skirmish in all 3 races to decide who wins the second BRSCC Winter Esports Series title in the mix. So, let's take it from the top in race number 3, then at the top of the order. I can get the words back and slow myself down. Reset. So, Bill Chadwick takes the victory. Here it is from Matt Kendall in 2nd place, and Bradbury in 3rd from 18th on the grid, and Ewan Charman 4th, Will Blackwood Chambers 5th after surviving that crazy last lap incident at Druid corner. Then it's 6th for James Dennison, 7th for Isaac Doble, 8th for Lee Britton, 9th for Chris Etheridge, 10th for Harvey Jones. Then Pete Smith 11th, Harry Barker 12th, from Monhemius 13th, Mikey Doble 14th after he got caught up in that, Joe Doble 15th, Dalton 15th, excuse me. Then it's Joe Doble and Mike Close, Will Hopkins in the top 18. And from 19th backwards, we have Tom Selden, Richard Harwood, Andrew Tibbs, Richard Woodson, Luke Herbert, Will Redford sadly getting caught up early on after he got tagged and suspension damage. And Finley lines up, he was spun on the first lap, as was also Richard Jett and Richard Frey. I think when we get them in here, I might just let the guys who are in for interviews just talk for however long they want, because my voice needs a break after that. That was incredible stuff from start to finish. We've got 3 interviewees ready to come in. So let's bring in the man who had a victory in race number 1 and performed well all night and was in the fight right at the end in all 3 races. That is Matt Kendall. Let's bring Matt in and see what he thought of tonight's race, because that was pretty extreme to say the least. Matt Kendall here, winner of one of our races tonight. Matt, I think I need you to talk to me for the next 2.5 minutes, because my breath needs a break after all of that, because that was 3 the most intense races we've had in BRSCC eSports. I think you'll agree that we've had ever since we started last year. Just talk me through the night from start to finish, because that was action literally everywhere you looked, at every single turn, non-stop, for actually 45 minutes solid, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still getting my breath back. Ooh. Yeah, race 1, I'm not sure I've ever had a better race in a sim with Mikey. That was really fun. Race 2, yeah, that was certainly a roller coaster. I've lost some positions. Oh, I've got the lead. Oh, I've lost some positions. Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, race 3. I mean, my guardian angel is bruised somewhere, because seeing a car backwards in the first chicane is not where you want to be. But still, it's really fun racing.
Yeah, it was constant action from back and forth, start to finish in all 3 races. And we've talked about it all season long, but I think in terms of performance, let's take out any skirmishes or contact that we may have had on that one. But in terms of just close, hard racing, Donington Park was a real level that we reached. Knock Hill was a next step above that. Somehow we've gone even higher here at Oulton Park. I mean, this is the rate of progression in terms of pace and how close the field is. I mean, what awaits us at Laguna Seca when there's a title on the line on top of all of that?
I think it's going to be hectic, especially with the curbs at Laguna, especially through turn 6, I think it is, which can quite easily break suspension. And if this year has proven anything to us, it's that these guys will not hesitate to go side by side through places that we weren't going side by side through last year. So I'm really looking forward to having a good old scrap, and I think the stakes are going to be pretty high after the way everything's moved tonight. So that's going to be really fun.
Particularly, you've got quite a knack for going around the outside and staying there, and just as you mentioned as well, you had that incredible side-by-side fight with Mikey, and of course you two know each other and therefore trust each other quite a bit from your days racing in Compact Cup together. So that must have been pretty satisfying to not only be battling with him, but to know that you could go side-by-side with him for several corners, and know that he was going to give you just as much room as you were going to give him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great when you're in a series this tight and halfway through a race you stop caring about where you are and you're just excited to be racing like that. Yeah, it was just really good, firm, fair racing, and yeah, it was really good fun in general.
Great stuff. Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Well, Laguna Seca awaits. You still in the hunt in terms of points, so we'll see how they work out once. Let's work them all out afterwards, and then of course it'll be a couple of weeks, I'm sure, as much practice as you can manage in between getting prepped for this season in the real world on top of that as well. Again, for being part of that incredible entertainment, again, thanks for all that, and some great driving nonetheless all round. And all I can say is fingers crossed for Laguna Seca, and best of luck for it, and we'll see you then.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff. So there's Matt Kendall, one of our constant front runners throughout the end of the season. Let's bring in the man who, at this point last year, was in the run-up position, but hasn't really had the best of luck, particularly. Always had the pace, but not the greatest of luck. Let's bring in Will Redford, because Will, of course, had mixed fortunes, I think is the best thing to point out with Will, of course. Will, thanks for joining us on this one. Again, not the way you want to spend the night, as it's obvious with anyone in that situation, but before that, the racing that you were having at the front, it was close, it was quiet as you'd expect in this series. Just, there are times when just luck genuinely just hasn't been on your side this season, has it?
To be honest, it was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it. But no, I mean, I think every round I've done this year, I've had something go wrong in one of the races, so I expect it at this point. But obviously, I'm not in it for the championship. I didn't do the last round because I was in Tenerife, so it's But yeah, I mean, first race was all right. It was I think it was a little bit quiet, not as chaotic as the second race. And then the second race, as you see, I mean, to be honest, I don't really remember most of it. There's just cars everywhere and me putting moves in.
I think if I'm honest, everyone else was exactly the same. They can't remember any of those races. There was so much going on. You didn't know where to look or what to think. I didn't. I was running out of voice. In many cases, it was amazing action. In terms of the competition, I think it's Matt and a couple of other people as well on top of that. We've got to this point now where this is the competition level. This is how close things are now at this point in the season. We've still got the Laguna Seca finale to come, and you, of course, were part of when you were battling for the title last year with Mike and with John Higgins Jr. So, given where we are in terms of the title fight, and we'll see exactly where people stand once we've worked out the points. It's going to be possibly the most intense race that we've had all season, surely, given how we've made this progression from maybe some of the gap in skill at the start of the season and how everyone's closed up. This is going to be quite an adventure in these last 3 races, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, with this car and the draft model currently, you can be half a second a lap slower than another car, and you're still going to be just as quick, and you'll keep up easily in the race, which is what makes it so close, because the actual pure pace doesn't matter. I think most of it comes down to racecraft and avoiding incidents. So it's going to be interesting for sure. The car last year when we raced, the draft was nowhere near as strong. So if you had a pace advantage, you could stay in front and you could defend pretty easily. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out this year at Laguna Seca, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch and race, hopefully.
And of course, being a consistent front runner, you've had 1 win under your belt this season so far. Without saying, I'm sure, but you'd love to end the season if you can with at least 1 more to end the year on quite a high and as high as you can in the top 10 in points.
Yeah, that would be nice, but you know, I'm not here for the points. I'm not here to race for the championship. I don't look at any of it after that. I'm just here to turn up and have some fun and race close wheel to wheel with some good drivers, and you know, that's what this series is good for. And you know, it's funny because it's quite good training on the off season to keep you sharp.
Yeah, you've got some real world action to hopefully come later on this year, of course. But plenty of good training to get yourself involved in that. But yeah, you give us good entertainment, as have many people. But of course, up and down the mix and towards the front. So more of the same. Hopefully, Laguna Seca. Hopefully, you get to end the season on a high after some very up and down luck. So best of luck for it in a couple of weeks, and we'll see you then.
Thank you very much. See you then.
Great stuff. So we'll wrap it there, hoping to end the season as much as high as he can. He's had a lot of up and downs. He still has had 1 win, so we'll get one next. Speaking of 1 win, he might have only won 1 race tonight, but it was or at least 2 races tonight. In fact, I'll correct myself. But he managed to win when it counted, particularly when he was up against it in terms of any competition. And that's Ward Chadwick, who was really in the thick of it all the way from start to finish. So we'll bring him in here to have a chat with that, because this was really a night where, well, say your night, describe it in the term yo-yo, is an understatement, because you went from victory to tangle with Ted, then from where you were on the grid, 3rd down to 8th on the first lap, and then back to the lead, and you're practically everywhere at one point. So, just how do you sum up how tonight's gone? 2 wins obviously is the headline, and I think you may have well taken a lead back in the points once you've worked them out. But how on earth do you sum up how tonight's been, particularly with just how utterly ridiculous it was at the front of the field in terms of how competitive it was?
I mean, yeah, it's always going to be really competitive. This type of car just breeds close racing. Yeah, I was happy with my lap in qualifying. I got a good tow and did a nice lap. And race 1 was fairly straightforward. Of course, I had the battle on the last lap, was able to just about keep a nose ahead of Ted, but it was a really good fight. And you know, what happened in race 2 is a real shame, really, because I don't think any of us want to make contact, especially where it takes both of us out of the race, or either or, really. You know, we all want to try and keep it clean, and it's just a shame that it ended in a crash for me and Ted. I was lucky in the fact that the way that I landed after the contact with Ted coming off the barrier, that I was still able to get a top 10. But like you say, we were up and down in that 3rd race, and it took a little while to win the race, but it was good racing. I think people were defending pretty hard, but I mean, you can't blame anyone to defend the position, so it's just good racing at the end of the day.
What was nice to see was that there was a plentiful mix of lots of different drivers. It wasn't the usual At one point, there was the usual 3 or 4 at the front, but how everything came together, you had in the top 12, there were drivers who were having some of their best runs of the season. They were up there getting good results in the top 5 and the top 10. James Edison, of course, got the victory in race number 2, so of course he was able to pick up a good result there. His first win in the eSports series, full stop, so that was really good to see. That's got to be pleasing given that you've got the usual suspects up there, but some new blood coming in that are giving you a bit of a headache, a good headache in some cases, because it means you've got plenty of good people to race with, and that lead pack just keeps getting bigger and bigger with each weekend as it passes.
Yeah, it certainly can be the case. I think it depends on what track you go to, but I mean, if you ask anyone coming into Oulton Park, is it a track for passing? They wouldn't agree it was, but I think we showed that is definitely possible tonight. And yeah, no, we had some good racing, and like you say, I think anyone can really run up the front, especially if you play your cards right and you race smartly. You can get really good results. So it's just about kind of just trying to get comfortable with the car and just playing the tactical game right. This car's very tactical. It's more so than just raw speed. I think some cars you'd see in iRacing where we all form into a train, but it's very hard to have a train in a Mazda, and it's good fun to watch, I'm sure.
It definitely was, and I think I need about 24 hours to get the voice back after everything you guys got up to continue. It was that. And the action packed from start to finish. Let's address the elephant in the room then. Laguna Seca, you're in the mix with the hunt with Bradbury and Kendall and everyone else on top of that. If the last 2 or 3 weekends we've had at Donington Park, then Knock Hill, and then Oulton Park, as that intensity is ramped up with each race weekend that's come through. Now Laguna Seca, now it's all on the line. 3 more races to decide who walks away from Season 2 as the eSports Series winner. Just how much pressure is there going to be, or are you just thinking just to go out there, drive as hard as you can, and just however it falls is however it falls? What's the mentality or the thinking going to Laguna Seca in a couple of weeks?
I mean, there's no pressure without expectation. So I just go into the final round and do what I did here. Put it on pole and just try my best to win the races. I honestly will probably finish that final round not knowing who's won the championship, and it'll come down to probably days afterwards with just understanding where the points are and if anyone got penalties, etc. So, it's just a case of going out there, doing your best, and not worrying about others. Focusing on yourself is the only thing you can really do. So that's what I aim to do.
Good stuff. Well, all I can say is that it goes without saying, but best of luck. It'll be you and I think possibly Bradbury, maybe Matt Kendall in the mix, at least those 3, from what I can tell from some of the results tonight. And once we get Will to update the points, we'll see exactly where things stand. Obviously, we'll have penalties to take into account after any security to look at too. That's 3 more races to decide it. You might be, possibly, when it all comes out, from taken out, might be in the pound seats in the lead, but we'll wait and see how the points look. All I can say going to Laguna Seca is best of luck. Thanks for being part of some great entertainment tonight, and all the best for the final round at Laguna Seca. And everything says that the best man win.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate the commentary, appreciate the production here, and yeah, thank you to my sponsors: Frentech Braking, Green Genie Rebuilds, PDM Media, RT Sim Photography, and Hymer Setups. Thank you.
Great stuff. Well done. Excellent stuff from number 1 world champion from Certain. I think I've also taken the lead back again in the points. So 5 events completed, 1 still to go. So 5 races done, 1 still to go. We now leave the UK shores for the final rounds in a couple of weeks' time. Head off to California, Monterey, and to WeatherTech Raceway in Laguna Seca. That is where we will decide, as we did last year, the fate of who wins Season 2 of the BRSCC Winter Esports Series. Will it be Will Chadwick? Is it Ted Bradbury? Is it going to be Matt Kendall or anyone else that could be in the mix after the results tonight? We'll only know when the points get shaken out after tonight, once they get calculated. And it's less than 2 weeks now until we decide who wins the title. And could it be as frantic as it was tonight? Who knows? But if tonight is anything to go by, we could be in for an absolute barnstormer, and it could go any which way at the top of the standing. I'm going for a lie down, because I think after all of that tonight, because that was incredibly good. But I hope you enjoyed all that too from watching. Thank you to Will Blackwood Chambers, to Matt Kendall, all those who are involved in the background and admin on top of anything else. Thank you to also Hydro Race for supporting the series, as also on top of that, Apex Racing TV for the production, iRacing for the platform, of course the likes of Run Your Feet and Co for all their support as club supporters sponsors. Thank you to all of you that have been watching and supporting throughout the season as well. Make sure you follow BRSCC and all its social channels on Facebook, on Twitter/X, on Instagram. Here subscribe on YouTube, particularly when we've got our live stream coverage coming up on the real world from March onwards this year. and also go follow us on LinkedIn as well if you're not there already. And of course, stay tuned because there is going to be 3 more races coming up in a couple of weeks' time. It all takes place 2 weeks from now on February 26th. That is when we'll find out who wins the 2020, February 22nd. February 22nd, been a long night. February 22nd is where we figure out who wins the 2023-24 BRSCC Winter Esports Series. Who's it going to be? Let's tune in and find out. But all of us here at the virtual Oulton Park, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for the final round of the series to figure out who picks up the Season 2 title. Until then, take care. See you next time. Bye for now.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.